welcome to this episode of SMB TV. This is part of our special COVID series. And today I'm really pleased to introduce you to Vanessa Armstrong, who owns Keto Buddies. She's based in Torquay, Victoria, Australia, which is also where I live. So hi, Vanessa, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so let's get into it. I really want, if you can tell your backstory, what got you into this business. Maybe we'll start with just the story of what led you up to starting this business, and then we'll look at some of the actual business decisions that you had to make, like cash flow and marketing and customers and everything else. But yeah, shoot with your background.
Sure. So I guess I have come to be the founder of Keto Buddies and to start this business from my own personal journey. So I'm 47 years old, married, and I have one daughter. She's 8, beautiful. And I guess like a lot of people, I've struggled with my weight. So I was obese for pretty much my adult life, not living the best version of my life. My weight was stopping me from doing things that I would love to do. Things that I had done in my childhood and things like that. And some of the scenarios where I'd give my daughter to her dad to do the active stuff, making
so missing out.
Yeah, definitely missing out on things. I worked in a corporate role for 16 years. I was very successful and very driven at that. I looked after a team and, put all my energy into that. It was very stressful. And I think stress plays a lot into our health. You need to have that right to lose weight, and it also, you gain weight with stress. So it's a double-edged sword. So I kind of came, like many people, unfortunately, with a crisis to come up in regards to health, which helps us make a shift. But mine actually was in regards to my mom's health. So she was very unwell and she's type 2 diabetic, and she was obese, and she got to a stage where she was in a wheelchair, just insulin increasing and injections and lots of different medications. And
Scary.
Really scary, and internal bleeding that they couldn't find, and she was on oxygen. And she lives in Canada, and I was told basically to come home, like it was time to. So I made that journey on Boxing Day a few years ago, and arrived, and my mom was had packed away her clothes for spring. My daughter had seen her closet and said, "Grandma, where's all your clothes?" And she whispered to me, she said, "I've packed them away so you and your cousin," like my cousin, you don't have to do that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, how bad is this?
How confronting.
So I went in search. My mom lives a bit rural, and I went in search of trying to find help for her, basically, because if she turned one way out the driveway and, went 35 minutes, you'd get a more metropolitan hospital. If you went the other way, you didn't get a metropolitan hospital, and you probably have very different outcomes. So I tried to find somebody. She was having kidney failure and all sorts of things. So I came across a doctor called Dr. Jason Fung, who's a nephrologist, a kidney specialist, works predominantly with type 2 diabetics. It's, something that happens to them. And started learning what he was doing and what his theory was, and putting that in place for my mom, much to her dismay. And I stayed a month with my mom. I did lots of cooking and cleaned out her pantry, and left her with about a 3-month supply of food, which are low carb or ketogenic. She hardly ate. So her weight was not an issue of overeating. Her weight was an issue of insulin and insulin resistance, and lots of lung issues. So she couldn't exercise. So you have doctors saying you need to lose weight, but when you have a problem with insulin makes you gain weight. So it's like you're on this roller coaster. So
it's a cycle.
It is a cycle. And so I came back to Australia. I stayed a month, and I came back and thought, well, I myself was obese, and thought, well, if I'm asking my mom to do this to try and stay alive, I need to also go along that journey. So that's how I started my journey. And my mom, within a month and a half was off her insulin injections and lots of reductions in medicine and out of the wheelchair, off oxygen, and lost a tremendous amount of weight and everything like that. So I just started to think about maybe it was a time for a shift. I'd been at my corporate job for 16 years. And I had people starting to say, oh, you should be helping people. You should be coaching. You're really good at this. Like, cause they were asking and inquisitive, and I was helping people. So I decided to quit my job and go back to school. And I studied to be a health coach and life coach. And then I started a business. So that's how it came to be.
Well, I guess it's one of those classic ones that you kind of hear all the time, turn your passion into your business. And you'd be the biggest advocate because you'd seen what it had done for you and for your mum. So it's natural. You are walking testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. But I felt that it was important for me to have the education behind it as well. So that's why I wanted to be certified in regards to the health coaching. And because the food's only 20%, right? Like, it's important to figure out why your body's reacting the way that it is and what can be done to help you. And certainly if you're females and hormones come into play, and then we're a certain age, like what we did in our 20s and 30s no longer works for a lot of people. So the food is important in that aspect, but really, like, it's the heart and our mind, the connection there, and being able to work towards being a different version of yourself as you go along the way. Because otherwise, it doesn't matter how good keto or low carb can be, you're going to fail the same way. So I'm not this like blindsided person who says like, oh, just do it and it'll work. It's not really true, right? You have to
address the holistic.
I
I read that, and that was actually going to be my next point for you to elaborate on that, because I thought, it's so true. Like, I started exercising, it wasn't a weight issue, but it's a mental issue. It was to help me feel better. Well, I thought it was to be fit, but the side effects of my mental health and my whole health were just so enormous. And I imagine it's the same thing, but I guess where you're coming from also is if you don't address what the root issues were, it doesn't matter what you weigh, you're going to revert back. Or,
absolutely. Yeah, because times get tough and stress happens and isolation happens, like unprecedented times, and it's really easy to go back to what we knew because we knew so long. And it's important to know, like, that served us for a purpose as well. Our habits in the past served for a reason. So we need to be gentle with that, right? And just to identify that where you want to go for the next chapter is different. So it has to be done differently. Yeah. And you have to be a different version of you, so that when things get tough, it's our critter brain, and it's natural for us to go back to what we know. Our brain tells us, oh, it's okay, it's comfortable over here, right? So come back. To have that, it's okay, but it actually takes us further away from who we want to be.
No, I love it. All right, so you quit your job, you do your study. Obviously when you quit your job, at that point you thought, okay, I'm going to turn this into a business, but I want to get some qualifications first. So did you quantify that in any way other than your passion? Like, did you say, okay, this is how much I need to turn over, I need X amount of clients, this is what I've got to do for marketing?
I was very lucky. I earned very good money. I was good at what I did. And it was a based role. And I had a team that I looked after, and we were a highly regarded team. So for me, it was part of my identity. Like, it was.
I get that. Yep.
It's really hard. So it was a whole shift for me, and it's taken time to detach from that, like to detach from the corporate mind, to detach from the empowerment that we had, being very good at what we did, and having, as a female, being a main breadwinner sometimes in your household is, it just comes with a whole different set of challenges.
Yeah, I understand. Lots of dynamics. Yep.
Away from that. So I really had to say, okay, I'm not doing this for money. Like, yes, everybody needs to earn a living and provide in a manner, but to start to really shift my identity away from a concept of a number, a dollar, a value, and to really link it back into a purpose, and to start to say, okay, well, what can I do differently so that the money doesn't matter as much to me? So you start to shift. So I do work from home, so I don't have an overhead in regards to that. I started almost like baby steps, in regards to expenses. What do I really need to start? And working originally, I also did a business course at the same time as my health coach certificate, because I've been out of, the social media aspect. I have no idea. It was like all new. Didn't have an Instagram account. Like, I was like, when you're overweight, you spend your life hiding from a camera, not trying to be in front of a camera. So that was like,
sure.
so terrifying.
It's a nemesis.
Yeah. So, and it's almost now, it's the way of the world. It's the way that somebody makes a connection with you.
Yep.
So trying to adapt and learn these new tools. I do have a business degree that's in my background, but very different skill set to kind of being an entrepreneur.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So can you give us an overview of, 6 months ago, how your business operated with no idea that COVID was coming up?
Yeah. So I was already, because working from home, predominantly I would market myself that my coaching is via Zoom. So it's via video. Yeah. So I have done well by that. I only really had a couple local clients who were actually a little bit older and they like to come in person.
Touch and feel.
Most people probably in that 40, 50s range, they're busy. They don't want to spend 20 minutes driving to an appointment. If they can do it from their work, their break, or, like they were already into going, okay, this is a bit different. Let's see. But the connection, still build the connection.
Yep.
So it was working very well in regards to that. And then we were able to transition. I just needed to adapt some of my advertising to say that it's via video, like, that it's still, you're able to start and to be coached and to get results all during COVID. For me, I think it was more the challenges that came up weren't the physicalness of where to work during it. It's about people's wait and see,
Okay.
and things like that. That's where some of my challenge has come up. And then also I already had a group of ladies, well, some had just started and some well into their programs, and then really working with them, because the majority lost their jobs, have been stood down, or they own their own business. They have, that's gone into incubation, I guess,
understand. Yeah.
Not only dealing with their normal learnings of trying to transition and habit change and belief systems around changing the way they lived, but now we had this whole almost career aspect coming into the
huge
coaching.
Whack. Yeah.
But so that's been very fulfilling to watch that transition of what everyone was able to achieve. But it has been, for myself, also quite draining to take all that on, plus your own family. My husband's transitioned to working from home, my daughter's homeschooling, fit it all in. My office has moved out of where it was. I'm in the bedroom and my husband's in my office,
That's all familiar.
So lots of little things there. But I also really wanted to try through all of it to recognize that, people are having a really hard time, and some people are going to feel the finance side of it a lot more,
Mm.
but that we could all come out of it with some wins, like to know where, even if you're not where you want to be now, that we know something that has resonated with us during it, and how you might want to adapt or shift in the future when that opportunity opens up for you.
Sure.
We can do things a bit differently, and maybe we don't all need the money we thought we needed, you know.
Well, I'm thinking that before COVID, you took a holistic approach to what you were trying to do with your clients anyhow. So it's just become so much more timely and such an important message. So the ones who were already working with you, it's kind of like a safety net around them, because you were addressing holistic issues, and now you were just introducing a few more that they hadn't really thought about.
Absolutely. They've all actually, spent a lot of time talking about it. So I do one-on-one coaching, and then everybody in whatever kind of coaching program that they're in, we also do a group night on Monday nights that people are free to join. So they've had a real sense of community and in where each other have been, because always just, one person, it's one person. It's better that it's in community, I think.
Yeah.
Another aspect. So, and it's not to say that there hasn't been ups and downs. 100% there's been ups and downs, but everybody has come out stronger as a person from it, really identified things that are important to them and important to their families. And some really great stories where some of them have actually totally pivoted, know that they're not going to go back to their corporate job, and have been starting and taking the time to educate themselves in different areas. Someone started a podcast, another person starting a business, so they're saying, well, yeah, I've been in my career for a long time too. I was having niggling thoughts, so how can I pivot? How can I come out of this maybe a little bit different? And it may be, as to start a side gig, right?
Yep.
Get up and I believe that for a lot of people is the right way to start as an entrepreneur, to, if you can still maintain a part-time income, to take some pressure off yourself, and then do your business and your passion, and then when you feel comfortable and that you have a safety net, then you can switch.
Oh, that's it. That's normally the question I end with, is what would you, if someone wanted to start, what advice do you have? So I agree.
A lot of instances. For me, I just needed to make a break, and I was lucky that I had worked in a position where I had bought myself some time and some savings, right? I had privilege really to do that. And also I adjusted my expectations. So one thing outside the box, in our house, we had the ability to make a room an Airbnb room, and it has its own entrance. So, it's not a lot of money, but it pays for groceries, right?
Yeah. Just takes the pressure off a bit.
Pressure off when I was starting. And now, it just, we have somebody who comes Monday to Thursday. He's a professional, and it's just fine now, right? It's easy now. Works out really well. So I think just being really open to opportunities and not putting a label that you have to be, 100% in your business, and that's the only way you can make the income.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Detaching yourself from ego, I guess, is part of the process, because to do everything as an entrepreneur is really difficult. When you're used to being in a corporate job where you had a marketer and you had someone to help, or more an ideas person or a facilitator, it's quite different.
It is. You're a one-man team, aren't you? Most of the time you're working out how to pick up all the pieces. And I think that's kind of what I've seen a lot, is that someone's good at what they're good at, hairdresser or, a marketer or whatever it is. And, or they might just want to be in their own business, so they buy something. And you realize there's so many skills that you lack. And that's just usually exposure. You haven't needed to know those things before. And I find, that's where you kind of you start that treadmill of, oh my goodness, how do I catch up? Because I'm passionate about this, or I'm focused on whatever the end product is, but it's all the stuff that goes on that people don't see, that you do need a level of proficiency, or you need to buy in those skills. And to buy those skills in just mightn't be realistic when you're starting a business.
No, but I think, and then sometimes we don't want to part with our money.
No.
You know, you do have to make decisions to invest in your business.
Yep.
Right, because that is important. Without the investment, then you in a bit of a gamble. Then you don't know, I think, and you have to try different avenues. Like I haven't figured out Facebook advertising yet at all. I've done some local advertising, you know, and also figuring it. I mean, that is also how do you figure that out? Does it need more print with it? Does an image just work? You know, like all sorts of, and it costs money, and it's trial and error. And if you don't have the budget to then go and pay someone who really, really knows, you've got to step that you have to space that out and budget for it and play around, and then, you know, register, okay, what was your engagement? Did that one work better than this one? And keep playing around. So that's kind of what I've had to do. And sometimes I go, oh, you know, that didn't work. But instead of being down on that it didn't work, saying, okay, well, I've learned from that. Now I can
spend money that way again. Yeah, tweak it.
Tweak it. So I try not to think, oh, I've wasted any of that money. It's that I've learned from it. Yeah. 100%. I didn't do it, right? So.
Yep. Yeah. No, well, very timely discussion, because I'm doing some learning on that at the moment. It's just like, it just makes your head spin and spin and spin on copywriting, and like what you were saying, images versus text, and how big and how vibrant, or how this or how that. So yeah, no, it's interesting.
And I think like trying to figure out when is the time to ask somebody for help is also an interesting, you know, investment in dynamic in regards to an entrepreneur. Like, do you outlay more, like, you know, for a specific profession, and when is that okay to do? Because I think we have to accept that you can't know everything, and perhaps your time in spending the time to learn it is better actually spent with a client, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I mean, and that's it, isn't it? It's like, where's your time best spent?
Yeah.
So I understand like the whole weight loss part, and I can see how you come at it from a holistic perspective, but kind of what you're saying, like how you're engaging with your clients now, it's become it's become more on the mental side than anything else. I'm not saying anything else, sorry, I'm actually asking the question. Is that kind of how you've seen it, that they may have come to you looking for weight loss? You do take a holistic approach, but now kind of it's more in the mental space?
One of the things I say is that we have to get healthy to lose the weight, not lose the weight to get healthy.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So we have to get healthy to lose the weight, not lose the weight to get healthy. And often people will come chasing a number on a scale. They have this idea of scales. In my program, I don't even use the scale. Like to my marketing detriment, you know, I don't have people saying, oh, I've lost this many pounds or kilos, because I said, we are ditching this scale. Like, you know, it doesn't serve you, it doesn't motivate, you know, because the scale doesn't tell the full story of our bodies, especially hormones. So it is about the mind. Like I have people who that are, say for example, they're only like 3 weeks in, and they've dropped some clothing sizes, but they're nowhere near where their goal is, and they thought they had to be at their goal
before life got better.
They thought they had to hit their goal before they went for a job interview. And somebody's going for a job interview today, and she's wearing red, and she's worn black for 7 years.
Oh, like, I love it.
Like those things are so much bigger and better. And, you know, somebody who hadn't taken photos with their children in their life, like in their life. And then she, you know, also very early in the program, and she's taking photos, right? So it's about building up their confidence and accepting their body as it is and as it serves us as we go along. And
I came up with my own saying because of like this whole fitness, like I wanted to be more physically fit and stronger. And I worked out, like I was kind of following this program and sticking to this program religiously. And if it said I had to do 30 minutes, I did 30 minutes. And then over the last couple of years, I've changed it to, this is a lifestyle, not a program. And it's just changed and it's relaxed me in my whole approach. Okay. So if yesterday didn't work out, it's my life. It's not a 30-day program. So I can understand what your clients thought that they had to get here before they could start to live. And I was kind of doing the same thing, but you've got to work that, no, this is a lifestyle change. This is now my life, not.
Yeah. So another thing that we talk about is that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Right? Yeah. So we need to be able to do it in a sustainable way and to understand, you know, perfection is not required. Like it's just.
Yes. Yep.
Required. It can't be sustainable. We beat ourselves up when we do these, you know, perfection. And what I try to say is I don't sell a diet, right? Like you can you can find out how to do keto. Like yes, there's bad ways to do it and there's misinformation and things like that. But I'm not selling the information of the how to. I'm working with you for the transformation, right? And I use it as a tool, but I'm not also, you know, pigeonhole. Obviously the name of my business, it's what I'm passionate about, is using a low carb keto approach. But if somebody came and they just wanted a paleo or you wanted, you know, a low sugar, I have those dietitian written programs as well. It's about the transition. It's about finding where and what works best for your body and for your heart and mind.
No, I like that. And that's one thing, like I said, mine hasn't been a weight issue, but definitely just a getting healthier and a better lifestyle. Like I'm trying to live my best life. And, you know, I just turned 50, well, nearly a year ago now, but that was kind of like leading up to that. That was my whole thing. I want to be happy when I reach that. I want to, you know, have it all come together for me. So.
And often as women, like I do find that these milestone birthdays are a motivator. Like it's where people are reaching out for help. And I think it's because our lives are in cycles. Like where, you know, we either had a family early or, you know, we're always looking after people, business, community, church. You're always giving to other people. And there's probably only a few moments in our life where there's enough time for a pause to stop and think, to go, oh my goodness, do I need to do something differently for myself? And if you miss that window, you get back to your busy and you may actually miss the opportunity to achieve
100%. Like we had kids young and we had our own businesses, and not once did my husband ever say to me, you take on all that by yourself. While he kept exercising, he kept still up playing sport and doing everything. He never told me not to, but I fell into that default role. And I kind of got to the point where I dabbled with doing stuff so I'd feel better. But I had to make a conscious decision. I had to be very, very deliberate. And like I said, it was only me holding me back. No one else. It was me. He would encourage anything I did, but then I'd be like, oh, well, I've got to do this, and this. And there was always an excuse until I became very, very deliberate.
Yeah. You have to say yes to yourself and put yourself, which is really difficult for us, I think, right? Because we have nature to care and look after other people first, right? Like we put the oxygen on other people first.
Yeah.
But
it's always the best analogy, isn't it?
Learn is like we can't be our best version, and often I do it too, right? We use our children as, well, I have to do this for her, I have to, you know, do this, but we can't be that best version for her, like if we're not looking after ourselves
or a good role model. You're not your best, and you're not a good role model either.
Yeah. And it's a whole new way, right? I think learning, it's a whole new way.
No,
Yeah.
I really, maybe after COVID, I'd love to get you back on, because I think there's so many different angles and tangents we could go off on this discussion. So just your business now, it was already set up, it was perfect. So it sounds like more the pivoting was in your coaching as opposed to anything.
Exactly. And a little bit in the advertising, because
your positioning. I
continued to run ads for in print for for the first half to date kind of thing. And the phone, I don't need a sale from the ads. I look for inquiry from the ads.
Okay,
and I didn't have any, where before I had very good traction with them. So I took it as people are doing a wait and see kind of thing.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And then and I checked in with the paper and asked about that, what the feedback was from other businesses and such. And I think for businesses that were providing products, like people doing house renovations and such, painting and exterior painting and solar, they were doing well from the advertisements. But the smaller, like service-based, probably have fallen off a little. I do think that continuing to advertise is important. I did pull back, because I needed to, but I think that if I had the budget to keep going and have the visibility, that would be a thing for a business to do. But what was funny is that all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, I had 5 new clients, right? That they had settled in their own pattern of COVID, had understood what the government was able to help with, what their financial position was, and have taken the opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm home, I'm only working part-time, or I'm not working at all. And yes, it's an expense, but it's probably one of the only times where they might have a little bit of time to do something different as well for themselves, so that they are investing in themselves
and really throw themselves into it, commit to it.
So it's worked out well that way from a growth perspective as well. But I think you have to wait and not panic and keep pivoting, right? Like you have to it's trial and error. I think with all of it, it's trial and error, and be accepting of whatever that outcome is, and really not being attached to the outcome is important,
or to a very specific
my self-worth and my success isn't attached to that outcome.
I understand.
By having that kind of perspective,
if I get X amount of clients, it's exactly the same thing as what you're saying about yours. When I get to this weight, I can start to be happy. No, I understand. So post-COVID,
yes,
what do you think?
So post-COVID, I need to have a different product offering, actually, because in regards to one-on-one, I've really found my niche of the number of clients that I can work with.
Okay.
So I need a kind of another product where it can be more of a group-oriented product, so that I can help more people.
Yes.
Less individual me times. So a little bit different. So they probably have, I don't want to say less of a challenge or a problem, but they have a little bit of a different dynamic of a problem with their weight and health. That's okay to be serviced in more of a group environment. So that's what I'm working on during this time as well, to have something as a different offering, because I kind of have found my sweet spot for my one-on-one clients. And that kind of, as somebody kind of finishes and goes into a membership support role, I am picking up referrals. And so that's kind of moving along nicely. So for me, if I want to upscale and have a different level of growth, it'll come from offering more of a group product. Yeah.
But you should have, I'm guessing by now you're building up client stories, client needs. So probably what you even started with is different in your mind today just because of the interaction you've had.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I think that the community aspect has really flourished. Like the ladies, I think initially thought they wouldn't, they just wanted one-on-one, but the Monday nights, we do it on Monday nights at 8:00, is huge. Like what comes out of it, the growth that's coming out of it for the ladies sharing, and then they've taken over. Like I had a messenger group that was just for like putting the Zoom links in and stuff for them, and they've just taken over it. Like they're all communicating with each other as well as they have their Facebook group, but like they're just really have this sense of community. So I think that taking that aspect and just pivoting it in a different way for another program will be what's next for my business. Yeah.
I think everyone wants to connect and they want to feel part. We all want to feel part of something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think that's come out in isolation even more, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah. And I imagine in your group, you've got people at slightly different parts of their journey. So, you know, someone's an encourager and a motivator, and, you know, everyone plays their part in that.
Yeah, they're at all people. I work on in what they call an evergreen system. So people start, it's a rolling, and I do have like, I can only take so many people is in my comfort level, you know, and then I'll just post when I have 2 spots opening up kind of thing, that kind of scenario. So people are at all different levels. And the message that I say to them is stay in your own lane, you know, use the support and the energy, but you don't need to compare yourself to anyone. The only person you need to compare yourself is to the person you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So, you know, are we moving small little steps each day forward? If we have a bump in the road, no problem. We just adjust and we keep going. And it's the same way like an entrepreneur, like don't compare yourself to the other people, right? Like, oh, that business is doing this and that. No, just stay in your lane, take learnings from people, you know, knowledge and help, but, you know, don't play the comparison game. It doesn't really have winners.
No, it doesn't, but it does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, Vanessa, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. And like I said, this could go on for ages on so many different tangents, especially like the identity and self-worth. I think that doesn't matter where you are in life. I think it's something everyone struggles with at some time. So I will include all your links at the end of these show notes. And again, thank you so much for your time. I'm really grateful.
Well, it's lovely to have the opportunity and great to speak with you. And I'll totally look forward to keeping in touch and watching everything that you're putting out, and the resources on your website as well are great help. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks.